Today, let's talk about how we can improve our metabolic health. What are some signs that you might be experiencing that might be linked to, hey, I might have metabolic health issues? So, first, let's start with the main one is okay, are you fatigued? Do you have some brain fog? Do you have some exercise intolerance? Like you used to be able to exercise well, you're not able to really exercise as well anymore. Do you have some gut issues? Maybe you have some constipation, or maybe your stool is starting to get more loose, or do you have high blood pressure? So these are some basic things that might be that your metabolic health isn't doing well, but really you could be experiencing no symptoms at all. You think you're feeling great. You might be energetic. You're able to run marathons, but your metabolic health could be so bad. Don't just rely on signs because you really need to do some testing to really find out what's really going on. Before I dive into all the lifestyle changes we need to make is why is it so important to make these changes? What are some of the consequences of poor metabolic health? So poor metabolic health leads to majority of chronic diseases that we are scared of, right? We're scared of a heart attack or stroke. We're scared of diabetes. We're scared of getting an autoimmune disease or cancer. This is happening from early, slow grades, festering metabolic health issues. So it's very important to get the metabolic health under control because you can prevent most of these diseases if you get a really healthy metabolic health. What are some lifestyle changes that we can do to improve our metabolic health? First, I want to start with exercise. So it's not about just doing aerobic activity or just doing anaerobic. It needs to be a combination. So aerobic activity is like running, biking, elliptical, walking briskly. All these are great aerobic activities. Now, what I want to reiterate on this for like to have really healthy metabolic health is you can't push it too hard. You can over exercise. You can stress your body out too much. Like if you are running every day, you need to stop. Or if you are running every day, you need to have a really light workout a couple times a week. I would say 2 or 3 times a week. You got to have a really light workout, or you're going to overtax your body. You're going to overstress the body. It's going to lead to injury, but also it's going to lead to poor metabolic health. So you think you're doing everything correctly, but you're overdoing it. Like those people, for example, and people might not like me saying this, is they're doing a marathon every week. That is really bad on your body. It's going to destroy the body. It's going to make you age quicker. It's going to destroy your cellular health because of all the cortisol that's being produced to be able to perform that way. So you need to take it easy. You can have certain days that you're pushing it hard, but you need to have a lot of days that you're just chilling out. You're still getting a good exercise, but it's a really relaxing workout. I know for me, that's a really hard thing for me to do because when I'm working out, I'm like, I want to excel. I want to push it as hard to my limit so I could be better next time. But that really isn't the best thing you could do for your health. You might perform better athletically, you might look better physically, but your metabolic health isn't as good. And that's really the most important thing, right? A lot of us are working out to be healthy so we're able to live longer. I mean, some of us are working out just to look better, but I think we want a combination. So we need to do some workouts that are a little bit more chill when we do aerobic exercise. Now, anaerobic. So let's talk about like how often to do aerobic exercise. I would say 3 to 5 times a week, you want to do some form of aerobic exercise. And one of my favorites that's really easy for beginners or just people that get joint pains or just want a really easy workout that really is good is walking on a treadmill at like a 6 to 12 incline, 12 even better. And you walk it briskly at a point that's not overbearing for you. It's a pretty easy walk, but it's getting your heart rate up and you are breathing a little bit harder, but you're getting so much bigger bang for your buck and so much better on your joints than going on a run for a lot of people. And you're actually burning more calories many times when you're actually doing a walk like that. So that's a really awesome aerobic exercise that you could do 3 or 5 times a week. Also, when you exercise, it tends to cause a spike in your blood sugar. But if you do an exercise that's kind of more chill, like walking on an elliptical at an incline, you're not going to see a spike in your blood sugar. You're actually going to see a decrease. So that's one cool thing that's really great about doing a more relaxing exercise, especially aerobic exercise. You're going to actually not have these spikes of blood sugar, which could actually elevate your blood sugar, believe it or not, if you're not doing it appropriately. Something I want to bring up also is you don't want to do this exercise, and this depends on the individual and you need to play around with it. But for a lot of people, I wouldn't exercise fasting. I think a lot of people are fasting, right? They wake up and then they exercise. That is putting your body in a stress response. It's like, I don't have a lot of sugar in my body right now, so I'm going to increase cortisol, and it's going to burst a lot of sugar out of your liver, and that's going to really spike your blood sugar, and it's going to keep it up for a while. afterwards if you don't eat. So I recommend eating a little bit of an apple, a little bit of a banana, a handful of berries or something right before a workout, because it gets your body knowing that it has food so it doesn't get as stressed out. So those are some recommendations I have about aerobic activity and exercise. And I would do that, eat a little bit before aerobic too. So working out, building your muscles, very important, just as important for metabolic health as aerobic activity like running, biking, etc. So don't leave the aerobic activity out. You need to be building muscle. Muscle builds more mitochondria, and metabolic health is about having a healthy mitochondria. So if we build a lot of muscle, we build the muscle, and we have less fat on us, we have a lot more mitochondria, and our cells are going to be happier. We're going to have much more energy, and our metabolism is going to be much better. My recommendation for that is 2 to 4 times a week, depending on how muscular you want to be. But if you're doing 2 times a week, you want to do like an upper body day and a lower body day, and try to get a good workout in and make sure you're actually building some muscle. So those are some exercises that I would like to do. Some good ones too, I like too, is Pilates can be good for people. If it's actually building muscle on you, it's not just really relaxing, you're not really building anything, it's just stretching. We'll talk about what's the benefit of that later. Or you could even do hot yoga, could be good too. That can start burning some calories, get your heart rate up if you do that appropriately too. So those are some other ideas of what to do for exercise wise. So is it important to go on a walk or do a little bit of exercise after eating? 100%. Very, very important. Especially I like doing this after dinner, because you want to eat. You want to get your blood sugar lower before you go to sleep. Because believe it or not, if you don't, your blood sugar kind of doesn't go as low as it should. It stays up. And it's a very interesting thing about sleep is you think that, oh, I'm fasting, my blood sugar is going to be the lowest during sleep. And it's not the case. It waxes and wanes throughout the entire night. And let's say you ate something like really a big meal, like especially a really carby meal right before going to bed, like an hour before, it would be a very good idea to do some brisk exercise. And that exercise I talked about on a treadmill or going up a hill, that works so well. You could do that for only 5 minutes and it's going to really drop your blood sugar a lot. So it's pretty awesome. What else can we do to help our metabolic health? A big one is stress. A lot of people forget this, that it's not really that important. A lot of people are like eating right, they're exercising, they're doing the things that they need to be, right? At least they think so, but they're keeping themselves extremely stressed. And like I was talking about with the exercise, they're overdoing the exercise and they're stressing their bodies out. So we need to calm it down. But also we need to focus on doing some activities in our lives daily to calm us down and just relax, because we don't want that cortisol produced all the time, because that excess cortisol is going to up our blood sugar. It is going to up our blood pressure. It is going to cause inflammatory processes, which then is going to cause inflammatory fatty acids. And then all this stuff affects our metabolic health. So it's important to do some things to calm us down, decrease the stress that we have in our lives. It's not like we're going to stop working. We're not going to stop having kids, all these things that keep us stressed out, right? But we just do things. My big thing I recommend to patients is you've got to do something that you like every day. Do something you love every day. Just find some time to be able to do that, because that is a big stress relief. Some people, a relaxing thing for them, and it's a great thing for them. Others, it's a stressful thing for them. So you need to find it. This is an easy thing that you can do. If you start feeling like you're getting overworked, just do some deep breaths. And the type of breaths I like to do is you breathe in 4 seconds with your nose, you hold that for 4 seconds, you breathe out 4 seconds with your mouth, you hold that for 4 seconds, and you continue that cycle. Do that like 10 times, and you're going to see how much you're going to feel much more relaxed. You're going to feel your cortisol just kind of calm down. Meditation can be really great for some people. Some people it's not going to work well. They're going to be like, what am I doing this? This is a total waste of time, and it stresses them out. Reading a book can be good. So find an activity that you at least do 1 or 2 times daily that is actually going to decrease that stress response, and that will greatly improve your health. Another thing that's really great for metabolic health is sleep, right? We need to make sure we are getting enough sleep. I think a lot of you listening to this right now are like, sleep is a waste of time. I'm not getting things done. I know I think of it as a waste of time, but I see how important it is. It is the time that we actually regenerate, heal, and actually let our bodies recuperate. So just think about this. If you are not sleeping enough, you are not letting your body actually recuperate. So you're not regenerating and healing. So any type of trauma that is happening throughout the day that's happened isn't getting healed up. It's not being fixed. So that is our time to be fixed, right? It's our time to repair. So we need to make sure we at least get 7 to 9 hours a night. Why do I say 7 to 9? It's not just 8. Some people are good with 7. Some people aren't getting enough when they get 8 hours and they need actually 9 hours. Based on a lot of research, you are not a 5 hour guy. I've heard this I remember one of my teachers I grew up with in high school was like, I only sleep 5 hours a night. I do great. I'm awesome. When I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, right, dude. But now I'm even like looking at the research. I'm like, your metabolic health is so bad now because you're only letting yourself sleep 5 hours a night. So make sure you sleep, make sure you get good sleep. Here are some recommendations I have to get good sleep. You have to have a sleep routine. You do it every night. If you mess with that sleep routine, many times that's going to mess with your sleep and you're going to have difficulty falling asleep, or you might not have a very restful sleep because your body needs to start making this melatonin, and you need to tell the body that it's ready to actually make melatonin. Some of us, it just gets dark at night and it's like, oh, melatonin is going to start flooding. But many of us don't have that effect as much, and we need to go through a routine, and that's when the melatonin starts getting made. It's like, okay, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm reading a book, I'm writing in my journal, I'm putting on my PJs, whatever. It's always the same routine, and that is getting that melatonin coming in so you're able to have a good restful night's sleep. Another thing I recommend, if you are someone that wakes up during the night to urinate, which a lot of us do when we start getting in our 40s or 50s or older, right? We start urinating at night. It starts to our bladders get a little bit more sensitive. So don't drink a lot of water a couple hours before going to bed. So stop drinking water maybe at 7 o'clock. Make sure you get plenty of water. That's a huge thing for metabolic health too. We need to make sure we're well hydrated. But if you're one of those that wake up to have to pee, that's a big thing that you can do. And that can really improve your health, is getting a much better good night's sleep when you are not drinking so much water. I think it's important to decrease the amount of blue light that you are exposed to before you go to bed, because blue light decreases melatonin. And what is blue light? That comes from TVs, it comes from our computers. It also comes from LED lighting. Most of them have blue light in there. So your idea of going outside and taking a walk or staying away from all this blue light to kind of get that melatonin produced can really help a lot of people. I know for me personally, blue light doesn't affect me at all, and watching a TV show puts me out. So everyone is a little bit different there, but there's a lot of research on blue light and affecting people's sleep and their restfulness of their sleep. The last thing I wanted to talk about that can really help our metabolic health is the technology that we have today. So we have all kinds of cool technology that can track our health. So we have like an Apple Watch, we have the Oura Ring, we have a Fitbit, and we have continuous glucose monitors. All these things can be really good for us to actually hone in and know what's actually happening in our bodies, and we can make changes as we need. Most of us are not that in tune with our bodies. We don't know what's really going on. We can't really know when our heart rate is really elevated, or we have high blood pressure, or we're not sleeping well throughout the night. We think we're sleeping just fine, but these technologies can help us actually know what's really going on. Now, I will say that with a caveat, because it can be really stressful for a lot of people. The more data they have, the more stress they get out. So I don't recommend using these all the time. And if you have like a Apple Watch or whatever, kind of turn off some of those settings or don't look at the data that's coming in there, because it will stress you out and it will affect your sleep. I said continuous glucose monitor. I like this too. Maybe you don't need to get it except if you see that your blood sugar isn't looking as good as you would like you have a 5.7 to 6.5 hemoglobin A1C, or maybe even a 5.6, which is on the verge there. Then I would get like a continuous glucose monitor and actually see how life is affecting your blood sugar, because you will be extremely surprised. And it's always different on everyone. So we have our research and we see what happens for majority of the population, but you might not fit that mold. So the continuous glucose monitor can really help you know, oh, do I do well with low carb, or do I do well with higher carb? Do I do well with intense exercise or chilled out exercise? Or how does sleep affect me? How does stress affect me? You're able to see all these things and make changes that can greatly affect your metabolic health in the future. This is the biggest one of all for metabolic health, is what you're eating. And there is a lot of research on this. And maybe some of you are going to hate me for what I'm about to say on this. But in general, to have a healthy metabolism or healthy metabolic health, is to follow either a low-fat vegan diet or a Mediterranean diet. That's what has the most research to actually improve the health markers, like we talked about in the previous episodes. Improve blood sugar regulation, HDL, good cholesterol regulation, blood sugar regulation, all these things that we can actually track with data on your metabolic health. This improves with Mediterranean diet and even better with the low-fat vegan diet. Low-fat vegan diet actually helping someone with blood sugar issues? Yeah, it does. I mean, a lot of people think about, oh yeah, it's really good for cardiovascular disease. It decreases your cholesterol, but it's not necessarily going to be good for your blood sugar. So who knows what you're going to actually do. But there is a ton of research on a low-fat vegan diet actually improving blood sugar piece, what it does compared to all the other diets, let's say the carnivore diet or the low carb diet that's becoming very popular right now, it actually improves insulin sensitivity. Carnivore and low carb does not improve insulin sensitivity at all. It does decrease how much sugar you're getting in your body, and it can help decrease your overall blood sugar, but it's not improving the insulin sensitivity, which is the most important thing of all. And that's why a lot of us are getting high blood sugar is our cells, our cell membranes are breaking down and not as many receptors for insulin are being made. So following these type of diets are important. Now me, and this depends on the person, you might not have to follow a strict low fat vegan. You might do great with just the Mediterranean diet, which is much easier, and you could eat meat and all that, and that works great for you. Some people actually have to go strict with the low-fat vegan and to help improve all their health markers, their cholesterol, their blood pressure, and their blood sugar. And what's great about these diets is they're very nutrient packed. They have a ton of antioxidants, they have a ton of nutrients coming into them that are helping with all kinds of things, that helping the cells work better and decreasing the oxidative damage that's happening to the cell all the time too. Let's talk about why is a low-fat vegan diet better for metabolic health than like a high-fat vegan diet? So it depends on what we're treating. What condition are we treating? Okay. Big thing with low-fat vegan is what happens is when you eat a really high-fat diet, and really the biggest thing is actually saturated fat is the biggest thing. It causes damage to the cell membranes, but it also increases what's called tyrosine kinase, which decreases how much insulin receptors come to the cell membrane surface. And that is a fancy way of saying that it causes your cells to become resistant to insulin. So if you eat a high fat diet, especially high saturated fat, it is going to lead to insulin resistance for a lot of people. Not for everyone though. I think majority that are in the middle of the bell curve, so the majority are going to do better with the low fat vegan if they want to increase the insulin sensitivity and improve their blood sugar regulation. Now, like a low-fat vegan diet, I prescribe a lot, and that doesn't have high amounts of saturated fat in there or animal products. So it's not going to affect things as much, but it's not going to quite improve insulin sensitivity as well, but it still does a good job because you're still taking away all those saturated fats. But for certain medical conditions like cancer, for example, we want to decrease spikes of blood sugar. So on low-fat vegan, you do get spikes of blood sugar, which that does help keep your blood sugar lower overall. Let's describe that. So you get this spike of blood sugar, your body then makes insulin in response to that, a lot of it, and then you draw that out really quickly, and that goes into your cells, and it puts you in a lower fasting state. So when you're on a low-fat vegan or you're on a diet that's low in carbs, you don't get the spike, which is good. You're not going to have really high blood sugar that the cancer cells are going to really love, and it's going to take it in and give it the fuel that it needs. But overall, over time, you don't get the big spike. So it slowly goes up and then it slowly goes down. So for a lot of people though, that can keep the blood sugar higher for longer. So you're having a longer duration of higher blood sugar. That's more common in more like the low carb diet or a ketogenic diet. I don't see this as much with the low fat vegan diet because it's the insulin resistance that occurs, but it does happen is your blood sugar won't go quite as high, but it will be higher for longer over time. And that's why you actually feel more satisfied too. Like if you're on like a low fat vegan, you tend to eat more. Doesn't mean you're going to get fat though. This has a lot of research on helping with weight loss too, but you don't tend to stay full as long because you're going to have that burst of insulin being produced and your sugar goes out. And that's why maybe a low carb diet, you could feel, wow, I feel like I have energy all day without eating any food because your blood sugar stays a little higher for a longer period of time. What are some medical treatments that you could do that really elevate the game for your metabolic health. Some of my favorite ones is red near infrared light therapy. And my preference is you get a high powered unit. Now I know there's home units and those are good. They're good to do daily, but they're not going to be as strong as a high powered 1000 LEDs to really get high energy going in the cell to really get all those cells repaired, get the mitochondria churning and healed up, decrease that chronic inflammatory response that's happening in the body. I love hyperbaric oxygen too, because that gets high amounts of oxygen into all our cells, nourishes the mitochondria, helps your body make energy production appropriately, actually increases antioxidant levels throughout your body, so you're not having as much trauma occurring throughout your body. So that's a really awesome therapy I like too. And then the last one I would like to talk about is a Myers cocktail. I have a certain cocktail that I created that's much more powerful than Dr. Myers created, that has a little bit more stronger cellular boost to go along with it. Decrease oxidative stress that's happening throughout the body, which damages our metabolic health. We haven't talked about any supplements today, and that's a big thing to improve our metabolic health. So we've saved that for our next episode. So if you want to learn about all the good supplements for your metabolic health, look for the video. If you want to work with me, visit my website, medica.com. Find my phone number there, give my receptionist a call, and they can set up an appointment with me. Or you can set up an appointment directly from our website. There are also a number of supplements that you can take to improve your metabolic health. So if you want to learn about these, click my videos to the right. I'm Dr. Jake, and I'll see you there.